Hi everyone, welcome to this quick tutorial video on how to create a custom user section using Autodesk Advanced Steel. First things first, I've got a outline of a user section. So this is my structural BIM logo. This is created with some polylines. First things first is I'm going to save this into a drawing. Now typically I'm going to save this in the system where all the other user sections are located. So this is in Program Data, and it's in Autodesk Advanced Steel 2019. I'm in the UK version, and I'm going to go to the shared folder, support, and I can save my drawing in user sections, and I'm going to call it SB logo. So it's a good idea just to save all your section drawings in that. You can create multiple drawings or just put all your user sections in the one drawing. So I'm going to save my drawing, and I'm going to go to the extended modeling tab. And the way that the user sections work, everything is under the user section panel, and then we have at the top is a drop down that allows you to configure the components in your drawing. And what you do is when you hit one of these buttons, that will automatically load in the required layer into the drawing. So there's two ways to do it. You can either draw the object first and then assign it the layer, or select the button first and then draw the object. So to do this, I'm just going to put a rectangle frame around here. So this is the frame of the user section. It's just an area that encompasses where the user section will be drawn. I'm going to select the frame section, and that will automatically load in that layer. So when I select it, you'll see under the layer we have these things called hype underscore, and then we've got various different things. And if I assign that outer one the hyperframe, that will do that. And then we can go in and start to define the name of the section. So when we select extended modeling, select the drop down, you'll see two at the bottom is one for the section class, and then we have the section name. So if I use the text command, so you can select the drop down here, you will see this is a polyline, a circle, and a text, and I simply enter the text. So if I enter the class first, so I'm going to specify my height and my angle, and I'm going to call this structural BIM. So that is going to be my class. I'll just put it all as one word. And then you will see that the layer is still current from the first action. So I'm just going to quickly update the size of this text, so it's just easier to read. Let's make it 25. Actually, maybe. So 75 is easy to see. So that, once I assign it my layer, so that I select the drop down. So if I wanted the class or the name, so I'm going to say that is the section class. So that will be the first drop down that we pick when we place the beam. So I select it, change its layer, and you can see that I'm going to go that this is going to be the type name. And then I can copy this text, and then I can just put ortho1, and I can make this the section name, and I'm just going to call this logo. Again, I'm going to select that piece of text and then change its layer, and that's going to be the section name. So what you end up with is the outer frame, then we've got the class, and then we've got the name. Here what I'm now going to do, I'm going to create this as my user profile. So my profile is made up of 3 sections, but I am just going to do a polyline shape around them all. So that's going to denote my outer frame. And I'm just going to move that completed polyline. I'm going to delete the other ones. So you can see that that outer outline is going to be the outside of my beam. So I select the drop down, and you have an inner section and an outer section, and you will see you've got exact and then you've got stand. So if I say that this is going to be the outer section, hype outer section, and then I make a copy of that, and I'm going to quickly offset a thickness to my beam, you will see that this is going to be my inner section. So this will allow me to create a hole in the beam. So exact hype outer section, I'm going to say that this is going to be the hype inner section. With this, we also have the ability to create an exact profile. Now this means that when we draw the beam in advance, we can use the presentation style exact. So exact will show things like if we've got beveled edges or filleted edges. So I'm just going to add some fillets, and I'm going to put a radius, let's say of 5, and I'm just going to fillet these lines. So this just means that I will have a different section for the outer and then a different one for the exact outer. So again, just fillet each of these to there, and then I'm going to select all of this, change its layer to exact outer section, and then I'm going to move that in on top of the other one. So what you get is a small difference. So you've got the exact outer and then just the outer. If you wish to do the same for the inner, you could create, let's say, an offsetted profile. Let's say if we offset this 25, just to show you when we create it, and we say that this is going to be the exact inner profile. So what you end up with is a full variation. So you've got the green layer, which is the outer, then we've got the grey for the exact outer, yellow for the inner, and then the light grey for the exact inner. So what we have is our frame, our class, our name, and then we've got the definition of the profile. What we can now do is use these. So these are the references. So this is where it picks the axis reference. So I'm going to say top left, and I'm going to pick a point here, and you will see that it will pick that point as the top left, and I'm going to go around top middle, and I'm going to pick a midpoint at the top, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to go top right. Again, you can use endpoints, and you basically assign the 9 coordinates. So I'm going to skip to the bottom left, we'll go to endpoint just there, and then we can pick middle, midpoint, and we add that there, and then we will have, just for quick reference, I'm going to put this as the midpoint there. What we also then have is a center of gravity. So this is the center, and I am just going to pick a point there. So what we end up with is the 9 points on our section. Obviously, if it's a more uniform section, they're a little bit easier to place. And then finally, what we can now do is position a coordinate point that allows you to snap the system line. And again, I'm going to pick the midpoint at the top. So you can see there's my coordinate entry. So I've got all my components as part of my user section. So if we wish to generate the user section, there's 2 commands. One is to generate the selected section, or we can generate all sections. So selected will allow me to pick one in the model. Because I've only got one in this drawing, it will go and generate it. If I choose this, it will generate every section in the drawing. So because I've only got one, I draw a window around everything, and I right click. And what Advanced will do, it will build that section using the structural class and the name. So it may take a second or two just to run. And there we have it. You will see that the new logo beam has now been created. So just to test it, I'm going to switch back to my start menu, start a brand new drawing. Just so that everything configures, what I like to do is go to the Home tab, and I'm just going to update my defaults just to make sure that the new beam is now available. To draw a user section, we go to Home, select the drop down, and at the bottom we will have user section, and I'm going to draw a beam with ortho 1, let's say something like that, and then we can actually pick from the drop down. So if we've done this correct, under other profiles we can select a drop down. You get the standard ones that come with Advance, and then if you scroll down We now have structural BIM, and then we have our logo beam, and you will see that that now has created our user section. So you can see we've got the outer and the inner. If we look at the display type, if we change it to exact, you will now see that we now have our filleted edges on the side, and then we have a reduced hole in the middle. So that's pretty much it. You go to extended modeling, assign the layers, then draw your object, assign the reference points, and then don't forget to add the UCS icon for the coordinates, and then generate your user section. So it really is as simple as that. So join me again soon for another video on how to do some cool things in Advanced Steel.